Budget 2024 was really, really disappointing. In many respects, I think it was a slap in the face of Guyanese. When you think about it, this budget, according to the Minister Ashni Singh, is a $1.46 trillion budget. And imagine, he actually stated, I'm looking down so I give precise information, 1.154 billion US dollars is what we expect to collect in a lift from our oil. And that's going to be withdrawn, that's going to be access to funds Guyana will earn from our National Resource Fund. 1.154 billion US dollars. And you give pensioners an increase from $30,000, $33,000 in old age to $36,000, you're actually saying that you are giving pensioners $3,000 more each month, and you think that is acceptable? And here we're talking about what all Guyanese know have been part of the challenges we faced as a country in the last 12 months. We know that the inflation rate last year was over 6%. They're claiming now that the inflation rate is 2%. The reality is that we all know from the newspaper reports, Stabrook News interviews of Guyanese of all walks of life, the extent to which cost of living went up. We know how pumpkin went up. We know how bora went up. And so it is really unacceptable that this budget does so little for people, for Guyanese. NIS has gone up from 35,000 to 43,000. What I'm trying to say is that given the money that we finally have from our oil and gas industry, more of it should have been allocated to the pockets of Guyanese people. So the income tax threshold, thankfully, makes a jump from 85,000 to 100,000. That's good. But really, when we look at some of the other key issues and just the approach Ashni Singh took to this budget, he kept saying that they're going to stay the course. And in fact, they stayed the course because what they've done is continue a process whereby they give extensive amounts of money to infrastructure projects and less to ordinary people. So for example, it was disappointing the way Ashni Singh was screaming and shouting, ranting and raving. I couldn't help but think of international investors that would have been listening to this budget, looking for policy, looking for information on what we're going to be doing, how we're going to spend in this 2024. And the fact that it was just so visceral, the way the presentation itself was made. We had a whole set of screaming and shouting about tourism arrivals, for example. And he actually said that tourism has taken a dramatic takeoff. And what does he say? Tourism arrivals in Guyana in 2023, went from 319,000 roughly. But what we know is that in 2019, tourism arrivals were $315,000. So it went in 2019 to 319,000. So let's digest this. That's nothing to show. That's nothing to talk about. Because you're talking about an increase in tourism arrivals that's not more than 4,000 to 5,000 persons. And this is at a time when we know, because of the oil and gas industry, we have a high influx of people coming to Guyana to work on the ship and investors coming. So really, when you say that we've taken off in tourism, the increase is really minor. We talk about, again, the hospitality school, and that money that is going to be spent, over 530 million. And again, this is something that was going to be put in place in 2023, 2022, And of course, 2021, we know we had issues in COVID. So really, what is sad is that at the end of the day, the worst case, which is a demonstration of their commitment to training and to education in this country, you agree to give UG $4.1 billion, right? This is UG that has campuses, that has buildings, that has administrative staff, that has lecturers, that all departments, that all have to be paid. There's a cost factor there. And you give UG $4.1 billion, and then you give the Gold Scholarship $4 billion. How could that be acceptable? Gold, where everything is done online, where the cost of implementing that program is of no comparison to what poor UG has to spend. So these are the realities. At the end of the day, less money is put in the pockets of ordinary Guyanese. Really, really unacceptable.